Welcome back to Mind Like Space, where wonder floats gently on the quiet currents of science and sleep, where your breath slows, your thoughts soften, and the mysteries of the universe become a lullaby. Tonight, we arrive at the final step of our quantum journey. A chapter not of endings, but of stillness, of all possibilities settling softly into one calm moment. So before we begin, take a deep breath. Feel your body melt into the bed beneath you, and let the noise of the day fade away, like starlight slipping into morning. Let us know in the comments. Where are you listening from tonight? And what time is it on your end of the universe? If these gentle voyages have brought you peace, consider liking, subscribing, and sharing this space with someone who needs it. Now, close your eyes, let go of the many, and drift with us into the one. This is the collapse into calm, and you are safe here. You lie down and close your eyes. The weight of the day slips away, slowly, gently, like sand falling from an open palm. The world dims around you. Your body knows what to do now: breathe, release, rest. In this quiet, something softer than sound begins to stir, not in the room, but beneath everything you are. A stillness that pulses. A calm that hums. Out there in the deep, hidden places of nature, there is a particle. It waits like you do. Not inert. Not frozen. Just waiting. Quietly alive in the spaces it inhabits, and in the spaces it does not. It does not need to move to be moving. In the quantum world, stillness is just another kind of rhythm. The particle hovers near a wall, not made of brick or stone, but of energy. An invisible barrier. A region where, by all classical accounts, it should not pass. The laws we know from everyday life would call this wall impassable. But the quantum world does not always obey what feels like common sense. You breathe in. You breathe out. Gently. Even the air entering your lungs has danced to this strange rule, particles doing what they should not do, simply because, in the smallness of things, rules can shimmer. Imagine, now, that particle again. It approaches the barrier. But instead of bouncing back, something peculiar begins to happen. Its wave, for in the quantum realm, it is both particle and wave, doesn't stop at the wall. It continues. Faintly. Fading, yes, but not ceasing. Like a soft echo that carries through a closed door. This is not magic. This is not fiction. This is quantum tunneling, a real, observed phenomenon. A mystery that rests not in the realm of imagination, but in the very foundations of how our universe works. Your mind floats now, anchored only by your breath. Slow and steady. You let go of effort. You let go of needing to understand. And yet, something inside you leans in, curious. Because this tunneling, this silent drift through what seems impossible, it resonates with something human. Haven't you, too, faced barriers you thought were solid, only to find, in some unexplainable way, how you pass through them? Quietly. Miraculously. Not by force, but by presence? The particle does not force its way. It does not push or crack or shatter. It simply exists where it should not be. A small portion of its wave leaks through the barrier, like perfume through cloth. And because it does, there is a chance, just a chance, that when measured, it is found not where the wall begins, but where the wall ends. That chance, that sliver of possibility, is enough. It changes everything. Outside, the world sleeps, unaware of the laws being rewritten in silence. But here, in this soft moment, you know. You feel it. That laws can bend, not break. That movement can happen without motion. That there is power in waiting. And that perhaps, the wall you fear is thinner than it seems. This is how stars burn. This is how atoms bind. This is how the impossible becomes part of the everyday. Not with drama. Not with noise. But with a whisper. You are drifting now, like the wave of a particle at the edge of a barrier. Not stopped. Not pushed back. Just folding gently forward into what lies beyond. Let yourself become smaller now, lighter. Let your thoughts dissolve like mist. Every moment you are more wave than weight, more breath than boundary. The rules of your day, the expectations, the walls, they do not hold the same power here. And as you soften into sleep, remember this, the particle does not tunnel because it tries. It tunnels because, in this universe, possibility is not bound by certainty. You, too, can exist through what once seemed solid. You drift. The wall fades. And just beyond, there's a question, soft, uncertain, waiting for you. What if you are not exactly where you think you are? There is something comforting about staying still. Your limbs resting against the mattress. Your breath moving softly in and out. And yet, even now, even here, you are not truly still. Not completely. Not precisely. Not even fully here. In the quantum world, things are never exactly in one place. A particle, an electron, a photon, a quark, does not sit politely in a single spot like a pebble on the ground. Instead, it occupies many places at once. It becomes a blur of possibilities, not scattered, but suspended. A cloud of where it might be. This is called the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. A quiet truth whispered by the fabric of the universe. The more precisely we try to know where something is, the less precisely we can know how fast it's moving. And if we try to grasp its motion, its speed, its direction, then its location slips further from our grasp. You, lying still beneath your blanket, may feel sure of where you are. But on a quantum level, even the particles within you are never pinned down. Each atom inside your skin is dancing, softly, invisibly, with its position gently smudged like a pastel sky at dusk. You are not a fixed point. You are a field of possibilities. Imagine, for a moment, that your sense of self could loosen. Just a little. That instead of being here, you are somewhere around here. Close, but not confined. Like a candle flame that flickers but does not fade. Let your thoughts do the same. Wander gently. Unfixed. Unharmed. What would it feel like to not need to know exactly where you are? Not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, even spiritually. To say, with ease, I am near where I need to be. And trust that is enough. The particle does not resist its uncertainty. It is its uncertainty. It lives not in confusion, but in freedom. Freedom to exist in many states. To drift between here and there. To be more than one thing at once. You, too, have felt this. The uncertainty in your thoughts. In your choices. In your dreams. And perhaps, like the particle, you don't need to resolve it. You only need to rest in it. Let uncertainty be not a crack in your foundation, but the air that holds you up. Let it be the pillow beneath your mind tonight. Your breath slows. Your heartbeat softens. And you realize the comfort was never in knowing. It was in being allowed not to know. In quantum physics, we speak of wave functions. Mathematical poems that describe a particle's state. They do not tell us what is, but what might be. Where the particle could be found. If we looked, but only if we looked. Until then, it remains uncommitted. Open. Pure potential. You are like that now. Unmeasured. Undefined. Resting in your own gentle ambiguity. And that's okay. In fact, it's more than okay. It is beautifully, fundamentally true. Somewhere, a particle moves. Or stays still. Or both. It lives in a question, not an answer. And so do you, in this moment. As sleep brushes against the edges of your mind. Let yourself spread out, like a mist. Not lost. Just larger than any one point. The world will measure you in the morning. For now, you are free to drift. And if someone asked, "Where are you?" you could whisper, "Somewhere between the wall and the wave." Held softly in the uncertainty that holds us all. Tomorrow, we'll follow the rhythm of chance. But tonight, become the question. And float. There's a quiet rhythm underneath everything. A pulse softer than your breath. Slower than your thoughts. But steady, always steady. It is the rhythm of probability. The quiet heartbeat of the quantum world. Not a coin toss, not noise. But a pattern with no sharp edges. Only waves, rising, falling. Of what might happen. And what might not. Particles do not decide where to be. They do not walk a straight line. They exist as patterns of likelihood. Like ripples moving outward on still water. Never quite certain, but always real. This is what physicists call the probability amplitude. A phrase that sounds technical, but feels almost poetic. It means that what we observe depends on where the particle was most likely to be. A shimmering chance. A ghost of presence. And the longer you don't look, the more freely it can dance. You rest in this now. Not in fixed outcomes, but in soft possibility. You, too, are not a single point. You are a wave of maybes. Think of your thoughts. How they flicker in and out of clarity. How they emerge, drift, and sometimes disappear before fully forming. This, too, is a kind of probability. Not confusion, but openness. Not disorder, but rhythm. The body's own quantum music. Close your eyes and imagine the world as pulses of maybe. Each star, each breath. Each synapse in your resting brain. Not fixed facts, but flowing curves of possibility. The particle near the barrier, the one you followed through these dreams, is not trying to be anywhere. It simply might be. It hovers in a space of potential. The wall ahead is not the end. It is only a region where the probability thins. Like a whisper growing fainter. But not gone. Even there, beyond the wall. The particle's wave lingers. Faint, delicate, but undeniably there. And sometimes, that gentle thread is enough. Enough for it to appear. On the other side. Not through strength. Not through force. But through probability. A soft chance given room to unfold. You, too, have lived by these soft chances. Moments where you could not predict what would come. But you showed up anyway. Where you reached forward. Not because you were sure, but because the possibility was worth holding. The universe favors such bravery. Not bold, not loud, but quiet and consistent. Your heartbeat follows its own rhythm now. And so does the space around you. There is no need to know what will happen. There is only trust in the pulse of maybe. Sleep does not arrive on command. It arrives through likelihood. A pattern of rest forming gently. As your body finds the place where it is most likely to be calm. You are not falling asleep. You are becoming asleep. Drifting into that region of probability. Where dreams begin to form. Let yourself move with that current. Don't chase it. Just float inside it. Probability, you see, is not chaos. It is rhythm. It is motion with open hands. It is the breath of the quantum world. Inhaling chance. Exhaling form. And here, beneath your blanket of stars. You are part of it. Your whole life. Every molecule. Every decision. Has been touched by chance. And yet, look where you are. Here. Held. Safe. Ready to rest again. In a world made of maybe. And as your thoughts dissolve into a gentle fog. Know this? Tomorrow, the particle will move again. Toward the barrier. toward the unknown. And once more, the pulse of possibility will carry it through. You will follow. But not yet. Tonight, stay here. Cradled in chance. Rocked by rhythm. Held by the quiet probability of peace. Close your eyes and feel yourself ripple. Not just in your skin or muscles, but in your presence. In the quiet way your being unfolds across the bed. Across the moment. Across the night. You are not just in the room. You become the room in small, invisible ways. Your warmth, your breath. Your quiet in emotion. They reach beyond the outline of your body. In the quantum world, a particle is never just a point. It is a wave function. A soft swell of possibilities. A shape made of potential. Stretching through space like a whisper through fog. The wave doesn't need water to move. It travels without sound. Without push. Without certainty. Just as you, right now, exist not as a fixed dot, but as a presence. A ripple. Every thought you have sends soft echoes outward. Your mind gently shifting. Settling. Spreading. Particles do this, too. They begin as waves. And only when we look at them, only when we ask the universe for an answer, do they become something definite. Until then, they are a spectrum. A dream waiting to collapse into form. So are you. You are not only where your body rests. You are in the air you've warmed. In the memory that drifts through someone else's mind. In the possibilities that remain, quietly waiting for you. This is not fantasy. This is the poetry of physics. It's called wave-particle duality. Every electron, every bit of light, acts like both a solid thing and a spreading wave. It moves through space not in a straight line, but in a graceful unfurling. Sometimes, in experiments, particles even interfere with themselves, as though they travel more than one path at once. And maybe that feels familiar to you. How many paths have you considered? Even just today? How many futures have flickered across your mind? Each one a soft echo of who you might become? This isn't indecision. It's your wave nature. To feel more than one thing. To be in more than one state. To stretch across your own potential. The particle doesn't choose to be a wave. It simply is. Until someone observes it. Then, and only then, it becomes a point. You, too, are waves in rest. Until the world calls you to define yourself again. Until you must choose. Act. Respond. But not now. Not here. Tonight, you are pure potential. Unmeasured. Unhurried. Unresolved in the most peaceful way. There is a soft magic in knowing. You don't need to be one fixed thing. You are still becoming. Still unfolding. Still gently interfering with your own past and future. To create something beautiful in the middle. A particle's wave function can tunnel. Pass through barriers. Because its wave stretches past them. Even if its energy cannot carry it through directly. It's the spread. The quiet reach. That gives it access to the impossible. And maybe that's true for you as well. Maybe the key to what seems unreachable is not pushing harder, but widening gently, extending your awareness, your breath, your calm, past the edges of the moment. Just like the wave. Just like light. Just like the tiniest pieces of the universe that make you whole. You are the stillness that ripples. You are the wave that waits. And in the waiting, you move. Not forward, but through. So let yourself ripple. Let yourself drift. Not to reach anything, but to become something. Sleep arrives like that, too. Not suddenly, but in waves. It builds, passes, returns, and eventually carries you. And just as you cross into that calm, imagine this: a wave, soft and unseen, slipping gently into the other side of a wall. Not because it forces its way, but because it never believed the wall was final. You are that wave. Still spreading. Still singing. Still softening the edges of what seemed impassable. And tonight, you rest. Not in one place, but across the quiet curve of all you might yet become. There are walls you can touch, made of stone, metal, glass. They rise, firm and final, telling you where to stop. But there are other kinds of barriers. Less visible, less certain. They hum beneath your thoughts, woven not from atoms, but from assumption and belief. In quantum physics, a barrier can be just such a thing. Not a wall of matter, but a hill of energy. To a classical object, this hill is impassable. A marble rolling toward it must have enough speed to climb over. No shortcuts. No exceptions. But a quantum particle is not a marble. It is not only a thing. It is also a wave. Soft, persistent, spreading. And sometimes, this wave does not climb the hill. It flows through it. It leaks. It seeps. It appears on the other side, even when it never had the energy to get over. This is tunneling. This is the quiet defiance of expectation. And you, resting in your bed, eyes closed, heart soft, have known this too. Not in equations or experiments, but in your living. How many times have you stood before something that seemed immovable? A fear, a doubt, a memory, a belief that whispered, you cannot pass. And yet, one day, you found yourself on the other side. Not because you climbed, not because you fought, but because you changed shape. You spread. You allowed. You softened. And in softening, you slipped through. This is not weakness. It is quantum wisdom. In the micro world, the barrier is not the final word. It is a suggestion. A region where possibility fades, but never vanishes. And that faint possibility is enough. The particle does not try. It does not intend. It simply exists. Its wave brushing against the wall, and extending ever so slightly beyond it. And sometimes, that soft persistence carries it through. You do not need to force your way forward tonight. You do not need to solve every thought before sleep comes. Just let your awareness spread. If a fear comes, notice it. Let it be an energy hill, not a stone wall. And watch, gently, as your breath brushes against it. Not in anger. Not in urgency. But like a wave touching the shore. In time, your wave continues. Beyond the fear. Beyond the tension. Beyond the barrier built from old beliefs. In quantum tunneling, this movement happens without ever touching the top. The particle never climbs. It simply is found where it was least expected. Let this be true for you, too. Let yourself be found in peace, on the other side of struggle, in a place you did not think you could reach, but somehow did. This is not magic. It is motion. In the language of possibility, the barrier still stands. But you are not stopped. In your life, too, some walls will remain. But their edges will fade. Their certainty will soften. And one night, perhaps this one, you will pass quietly through something you thought would always hold you back. Let your breath be the wave. Let your heartbeat be the soft frequency of yes. And as sleep drifts closer. Not rushing. Just arriving. Know this? The mind can tunnel. The soul can seep. And the self can cross boundaries that once felt permanent. Not by breaking them, but by becoming bigger than the space they held. Tomorrow, we'll follow the forbidden path. The road a particle takes. Not by permission, but by presence. But for now, rest in this knowing. Not every wall is real. Some are just tightly held ideas. And even they, in time, can let you through. There's something beautifully disobedient about the quantum world. Not loud, not chaotic, but gently, quietly unruled. Where you expect a hard no, it answers with a maybe. And sometimes, that maybe becomes real. The particle, still hovering near the barrier, does not ask for a door. It does not seek a crack, a gap, a passage. It simply exists, as if the wall were not final. And then, as if nothing unusual has happened, it is suddenly found. On the other side. Not over. Not around. But through. This is the forbidden path. Not forbidden by force, but by likelihood. By all classical logic. The particle should never be there. And yet it is. You've known moments like this. Moments when you stepped into a version of your life that once felt out of reach. A choice you didn't think you could make. A healing you didn't know you were allowed. You walked the improbable path. You arrived. Without knowing how. The particle is not breaking laws. It is obeying deeper ones. Ones that whisper? Possibility never truly vanishes. It only dims. The probability of tunneling is small. But not zero. And the quantum world has patience for small things. So does sleep. You do not need to crash into dreams. You do not need to force rest open. Let your body take the improbable path. That only appears when you stop pushing. Drift sideways. Not forward through thoughts, but around them. There is a path, just slightly out of view, that your awareness knows how to follow. Let your thoughts go dim. Let your breath lead. Like the particle, you may simply arrive on the other side of tension, without knowing how you got there. The forbidden path is not loud or lit. It is soft, hidden, and open only to those who do not demand it. It is found by those who become it. You become sleep, not by chasing it, but by yielding, by spreading yourself thin, until the wall you feared is only a ripple in your presence. You've crossed many such barriers. Moments you didn't think you'd survive. Emotions you thought would drown you. Days you thought would never end. And yet, here you are. Here. On the quiet side of something that once felt too large. There is strength in that. The strength of softness. The strength of the wave. Tonight, allow yourself to imagine. What if the impossible thing is not to be forced, but simply waited for? The particle doesn't know it has tunneled. It just is. Here now. Not there. And the universe adjusts. So too can you. You are not stuck. You are simply gathering your wave. Softening the wall. Becoming possible. Let this moment be gentle. Let the path forward be unclear. Let that be enough. And if you find yourself drifting, if you wake in a dream, or sleep through a thought, know this? You have tunneled. You have crossed some soft and sacred boundary that once felt sure. And you've done it by becoming everything the wall could not hold. Next, we'll look closer Not at movement, but at stillness that still flows. But for now, rest in this truth. The forbidden path forward may be your most natural way. A tunnel, in your waking world, is carved, dug, built, shaped by force. It is something hollowed out to pass through what resists. But in the quantum world, a tunnel does not need to exist for something to pass through. There is no digging, no damage, no tunnel in the usual sense. And yet, the particle appears beyond the wall, as though a hidden doorway had been there all along. This is not illusion. It is not magic. It is quantum tunneling. As real as light. As quiet as breath. You feel it, even now. That sensation of slipping through something, without knowing how. Like a thought that forms fully in your mind, with no footsteps behind it. Or the moment between tension and release, when your body lets go of everything at once, and does not fall, but floats. Tunneling happens not through force, but through being. The wave of the particle simply is on both sides of the barrier. Its presence doesn't stop at the edge. It stretches, thins, softens through. Not enough to guarantee arrival, but enough to allow for it. You may not always notice when this happens in yourself. When you pass through an old fear, without resistance. When your breath moves from shallow to steady, without instruction. When you suddenly feel better, not because you tried, but because you stopped trying. That is your own kind of tunneling. There was no tunnel, and yet, you passed through. Physicists call this a non-classical path. Not forbidden. Just invisible to the ordinary eye. Just like sleep. It is not a staircase. It is not a road. It is a passing through. A drifting across. There is no map. And yet, you arrive. In quantum mechanics, the barrier remains intact. The particle does not break it. Nor does it leave a trail behind. The wall is untouched. And still, the particle is gone. Discovered on the other side. You do not need to break through your thoughts tonight. You do not need to solve the heaviness. Let it be there. Let the wall remain. And trust. Your wave knows how to slip past it. Sometimes the answer is not movement. It is expansion. Softening your presence. Until you become so broad. The barrier is just a moment. Inside your greater field. There is an elegance in this. A deep and silent grace. The particle doesn't conquer. It doesn't demand. It simply exists forward. And that's enough. You may not see your own softness as strength. But it is. Because it allows you to keep going. Where nothing seems to yield. There is no tunnel in the traditional sense. But you have passed through many. When you forgive someone. And feel peace without resolution. When you change your mind. Without needing permission. When you grow past a version of yourself. You once thought permanent. You didn't fight those changes. You didn't force them. You arrived at them. As if waking on the other side. That is tunneling. That is the miracle of a wave. Not pushing. Not breaking. Just being long enough. Wide enough. Present enough. To carry even the smallest possibility. Across the boundary. And that's all you need now. The gentlest permission. To remain present. Your thoughts will settle. Your breath will deepen. You are already moving. Through the tightness of the day. Into something wider. Let yourself go without resistance. Let yourself appear without planning. There is no tunnel. But you are already on your way. And tomorrow, when you open your eyes, with the softness of something newly arrived. You may not remember how you crossed this wall, but you will have crossed it all the same. Next, we will visit the place where resistance fades, where energy, at the edge of its strength, learns how to surrender. But for now, rest in the strange truth that the passage doesn't need to be visible for it to be real. There is a point in every motion where momentum fades. A particle approaches a barrier with energy that cannot quite carry it over. It slows. It should stop. By classical rules, it must turn back. But quantum rules are softer. They do not shout. They do not punish. They listen for possibility. And possibility, like breath, never quite disappears. So even as the particle reaches its energetic edge, where it should surrender to stillness, something else happens. The wave continues. It does not care that the particle has no energy left to climb. It stretches anyway. Faintly. Gracefully. Beyond where it should be able to go. This is not defiance. This is surrender. The surrender of classical certainty to quantum truth. And you've known this moment, too. In your own way. The moment when you were too tired to push. Too full to explain. Too worn to keep holding yourself upright. And then, something softer arrived. Not force. Not failure. Just release. A breath. A letting go. You surrendered. And in that surrender, you didn't collapse. You passed through. Like the particle. Because there are places where resistance turns not into defeat, but into permeability. You do not need to force sleep. It comes when energy surrenders. Not to nothingness, but to flow. You lie still now. At the barrier between waking and sleep. Your thoughts slowing. Your muscles loosening. The drive of the day, the energy, has spent itself. But something in you continues. A ripple. A wave. A presence. It is this that slips through. That slides into the next realm. Without effort. Without noise. This is what happens to particles at the edge of barriers. They do not shout. They do not insist. They simply arrive. Somewhere new. And science, careful, skeptical, precise, has confirmed it. We observe tunneling. We measure it. We rely on it. It powers our technologies. It fuels reactions in the heart of stars. And still, it remains soft. Unforced. A surrender that becomes motion. You, too, are powered by surrenders. Small ones. Silent ones. Moments where you set down what was too heavy. Not in failure, but in wisdom. Because the universe does not reward constant struggle. It rewards alignment. And sometimes, the only way forward is to stop trying to go forward at all. Just as the particle finds itself beyond the wall. Not through strength, but through presence. You can find yourself beyond tension tonight. By softening. Let your breath be less deep. Let your body give way to stillness. Not rigid stillness, but living stillness. A peace that hums just beneath awareness. You are not pushing now. You are tunneling. Drifting through the edge of energy. Into a place where resistance is not broken, but bypassed. The wall does not fall. It remains. But it no longer holds you. Because you are no longer meeting it with force. You are meeting it with openness. And that, in the quantum world, is enough. Soon, your thoughts will dissolve. The boundary of your awareness will soften. Like mist retreating from the sun. And where energy ends, rest begins. You will pass through. Not because you tried, but because you surrendered. At just the right depth. And when you wake, you may not remember the barrier. Only the feeling of having crossed it. With nothing but breath. Next, we'll explore how possibility multiplies. How the world holds more versions of you than you've dared to imagine. But for now, let your energy fall quiet. Let resistance fade. And in that quietness, feel yourself drift through what once seemed solid. You close your eyes, and the day begins to dissolve. But even as it fades, your mind flickers with faint trails. Paths not taken. Words not said. Choices that hovered just beyond your reach. They are not mistakes. They are echoes. Soft sketches of what could have been. In the quantum world, a particle moving from one point to another does not take a single route. Instead, it takes every possible path. Not metaphorically. Not theoretically. Quite literally. Each curve, each detour, each shortest line and widest loop. They all matter. This idea comes from Feynman's path integral. It tells us that a particle's behavior is shaped by all the paths it could have taken. It is not one path that defines it. It is the sum, the shimmering chorus of every possible journey. You, lying still now, have paths echoing inside you, too. Not just memories, but maybes. You carry all your possible selves. The one who spoke up. The one who stayed quiet. The one who turned left instead of right. They are not lost. They are part of your shape. Like faint brushstrokes behind a finished painting. You do not need to regret them. You do not need to chase them. They live in you still. Whispering softly in your sleep. Reminding you that you are not only the sum of what happened, but also of what could have. The particle does not choose a path. It moves through all of them. And in the end, its reality reflects the weight of every route. So, too, with you. Your presence tonight. Your quiet breath. Your resting limbs. Is not the result of one decision, but of many. It is the overlapping of countless paths, all converging into now. Let that bring you comfort. You are not confined to one version of your story. Even the roads you didn't walk have shaped the way you see, feel, dream. Sleep, too, is a journey of many paths. There is no single way to fall into it. Sometimes it arrives quickly. Other times it lingers, circling the edges of your mind. But always, your body knows the way. Through slow breathing. Through stillness. Through surrender. Imagine yourself now as a wave of possibilities, gently collapsing into rest. Each inhale carries a new branch of maybe. Each exhale folds it into silence. You do not need to know which thought to follow. They will all fade in time, just as the particle reaches its destination. Through all its paths, you will reach sleep. By letting go of which route gets you there. There is beauty in this. You are not the product of one perfect choice. You are the soft hum of possibility held over time. And maybe, just maybe, the universe remembers your other selves too. The quiet you, the brave you, the uncertain you. Like overlapping shadows. They walk beside you. Not haunting, but harmonizing. And when you dream, they rise. Not in confusion, but in celebration. A festival of futures. Dancing softly in the quiet of your mind. The particle never questions its path. It simply moves. Woven from all the might-have-beens. You, too, are allowed to rest. Without needing certainty. Let your thoughts echo softly. Let them swirl. Then settle. And as you drift, know this? Even the versions of yourself that never came to be have helped shape the one who lies here now. Next, we will step into the realm of quantum superposition, where being more than one thing is not a contradiction, but a form of truth. But for tonight, rest in the quiet hum of every road you've carried within. There is a comfort in choosing this or that, here or there, certain or not. But beneath that comfort is a softer truth, that sometimes we are more than one thing at once. In quantum physics, this truth is not only allowed, it is expected. Particles exist in superposition, not in one state, but in many. An electron isn't spinning this way or that. It's spinning both ways. Until someone looks. A photon doesn't take one path through the maze. It takes every path. Its wave nature stretched across space. Only when we measure it. When we ask the universe to decide. Does it collapse into something singular? But until that moment, it is plural. It is possibility. It is layered and complex. Like you. You are not only your calm, or your chaos, not only your doubts, or your dreams. You are all of it. Held together gently. Not in contradiction, but in superposition. Right now, as you lie here, you are both tired and thinking, both heavy and light, both here and already drifting. And all of that is okay. Let go of the pressure to resolve it. There is no need to collapse your state. Not yet. Let yourself be both comforted and curious. Both present and pulled elsewhere. Both soothed and seeking. This is how the quantum world moves. Not in tidy boxes, but in blended waves. In your day, you tried to be one thing. Productive. Certain. Whole. But at night, you are allowed to be many things. Unfinished. Unresolved. Expanding. Like a particle in superposition. You stretch across stories. You hum with quiet complexity. And that hum is what guides you into sleep. Some think of superposition as uncertainty. But maybe it's something gentler. Maybe it's permission to hold more than one truth. To carry your contradictions without needing to settle them. Because even the universe doesn't always make up its mind. Not right away. It waits. And in that waiting, there is peace. The particle does not rush to become. It simply is. Spread out in possibility. Like a shadow with many directions. You do this, too. When you forgive and still feel hurt. When you hope and still carry doubt. When you rest and still wander in thought. You are not confused. You are whole. And that wholeness includes the quiet contradiction of being many things at once. Tonight, as you sink deeper into your blanket, imagine your mind widening. Not scattering, but expanding. Let your thoughts overlap. Like gentle waves on a shore. Each one blending into the next. Without sharp lines. This is not chaos. This is harmony. And in time, as your breath softens, and your body settles, some of those waves will fade. You will collapse into sleep. Not by deciding who you are, but by letting go of needing to know. And when you wake, you may be something new. Not because you chose, but because you rested in the space between choosing. Next, we will meet the quiet observer. the one whose gaze collapses the wave. But for now, be everything. And let sleep decide nothing. What is real? It's a question you may ask yourself. On long walks. In quiet moments. In the still hush between wakefulness and sleep. In the classical world. Reality simply is a stage set with props, unchanging whether you look or not. But the quantum world tells a softer story. One woven with attention, with interaction, with choice. In this realm, observation changes everything. Not just seeing, but measuring. Touching the wave with awareness. A particle, floating in superposition. 1,000 possibilities. All present at once. Become something specific. Only when we look. Before we observe it. It is not nowhere. It is everywhere it might be. A cloud of potential. A breath not yet taken. And then. A gaze. A detection. A measurement. And the wave collapses. The particle chooses. Or maybe we choose it by the very act of looking. This is called the observer effect. And though it has stirred decades of wonder and debate, its core is simple. Our gaze holds weight. Your awareness, even your quiet noticing, has the power to define what becomes real. You've felt this in your own life. Even if you didn't name it. The moment someone sees you, and you suddenly become more yourself. The way attention turns an ordinary moment into something vivid. How noticing your breath changes it. How naming a feeling gives it shape. You are not just an observer of your world. You help create it. By where you place your gaze. And sometimes, what needs to happen most is not to look harder, but to stop looking at all. The particle is free in its wave. Until we ask it to decide. And when we stop measuring, stop watching, stop forcing certainty, it spreads again. It softens. Just like you do. When no one is expecting you to be anything. When you let go of your own gaze. Your own need to name or fix. And simply rest. That's what tonight is for. To let the wave remain. To let the world exist. Without the pressure of observation. You don't need to make sense of this moment. You don't need to understand your thoughts. You can let them float. Like particles unmeasured. Free to be many things at once. Your attention has power. And in choosing to rest it, to soften it, you give your mind permission to spread. To loosen. To dream. The world you build with your gaze can pause now. You've seen enough today. You defined enough. Now let the unobserved world return. The quiet hum of being. That doesn't need to collapse. Let sleep rise. Like a field of possibilities. Unmeasured. Unwatched. Untouched. The gaze that collapses the world can close for a while. And in its closing, you will open. Next, we'll explore entanglement. How two particles can remain connected, no matter how far apart they drift. But tonight, your thoughts can drift freely, and your world can go unwatched. For what you do not measure can still hold you gently. Close your eyes and think of someone far away. Not with longing, not with ache, but with stillness. Just their name, their shape in your memory, the way their voice echoes in the quietest corners of you. Now, feel this. They are here. Not in body, not in time, but in some soft, silent way. You cannot measure, but know. In quantum physics, there is a mystery just like this. It is called entanglement. When two particles become linked, through interaction, through proximity, through some quantum handshake, they remain connected, even when separated by miles or light years. Measure one, and the other responds instantly, without signal, without delay. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance. But it's not spooky at all. It's tender. It's true. It's the deepest kind of bond. A connection that exists. Not in space, but in relation. You have these bonds, too. With people. With places. With the versions of yourself you thought were left behind. Even when they are far. Even when they are quiet. They move something in you. And you in them. This is not just emotion. It's something deeper. Like a thread woven through the fabric of your being. Tugged gently. And felt from afar. You can't explain why you suddenly think of someone. Or why your heart softens when a breeze smells like a past season. Or why your breath slows when you hear a certain song. Entanglement, perhaps. Not the physics kind, but the soul kind. Still real. Still mysterious. Still beautiful. And the physics version. It, too, is real. Tested. Measured. Proven. Two photons, created together, carry within them a shared truth. A symmetry that stays. Even when oceans lie between. You are not alone in this world. Your atoms were forged in the hearts of ancient stars. Your body carries memory of the earth, of the sky, of every hand you've held. You are entangled in ways your waking mind forgets. But your dreaming mind remembers. It knows how to drift toward those you've loved, toward moments of warmth that no longer live in the calendar, but glow just beneath your chest. Let that guide you now. As sleep begins to pull you inward, feel the gentle threads that connect you outward to your younger self, still learning to be kind, to the friend you haven't spoken to, but still feel, to the quiet version of you who once sat beneath a tree and watched the light flicker through leaves. None of them are gone. They are entangled, linked by the quiet truth that you were never meant to be separate. And this, the quantum world teaches, is not distance defied. It is unity remembered. So tonight, rest with that knowing. There are connections that do not ask to be tended. They simply are. Even when you forget. Even when you feel small. Your presence echoes. Your breath ripples. Your being touches more than you know. Let it. Let your sleep be long. Let your dreams be wide. Let your heart remember what it always knew. You are not alone. Next, we will explore the uncertainty woven into every moment. Not to fear it, but to rest inside it. But for now, be held by every invisible bond that keeps you whole. You've asked questions all day. Small ones, like what time is it? Big ones, like am I doing enough? Questions that press, that chase, that seek to name and define. But now, you may let them go. Not because the answers have arrived, but because they are no longer required. This is the gift of uncertainty. And in the quantum world, it is not a flaw. It is the fabric of existence. At the tiniest scale of reality, particles do not settle into a single truth. They hum with duality, with a soft and shimmering blur. You cannot know both where a particle is and how fast it moves. Not exactly. Not at the same time. This is not a limitation of our tools. It is not human error. It is a fundamental truth. It is called the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. The more precisely you try to pin down position, the more momentum slips from your grasp. Focus on velocity, and location becomes cloudy. The universe, it seems, reserves the right to be inexact. And rather than breaking, it dances there. It thrives in not being perfectly defined. You, too, can thrive in this space, even as you lie still. Not every thought needs to be chased. Not every feeling needs to be understood. Let them drift. Let your inner world blur a little. Edges softening. Shapes losing urgency. You are not lost. You are simply not required to be exact. You do not need to name the emotion. You do not need to define the dream. You do not need to label this moment as good or bad, productive or wasted. It is enough to simply be here, now, between clarity and mystery. The quantum world moves this way. With trust. Particles do not freeze in place. They exist within a haze of probability, a cloud of becoming. And still, they hold the universe together. That means you don't need all the answers to be whole. You don't need certainty to be at peace. There's a strange kind of comfort in that, isn't there? In knowing that the most foundational parts of reality are themselves unresolved. And yet, they are real. They are powerful. They are what everything is made of. So why should you be any different? Tonight, allow yourself to be uncertain. To not know exactly how to feel. To not know what tomorrow holds. To not know if your path is perfect. And still walk it. That uncertainty is not emptiness. It is space. Room for softness. Room for stillness. Room for dreams to rise. Without needing to be named. Let your thoughts drift like particles. Not trapped, but tenderly free. You don't have to fix your mind. You don't have to hold on. Sleep, like the quantum realm, requires a little surrender. A willingness to float between where you are and where you might go next. Let yourself rest in that shimmering in-between. Between now and later. Between thought and dream. Between questions. And the comfort of not needing answers. Next, we'll explore quantum fields. Invisible landscapes that birth every particle you know. But for now, breathe gently. In this safe, sacred space, where not knowing is more than enough. There is a calmness deeper than stillness. Not the quiet of absence, but the quiet of potential. Before anything moves, before anything becomes, there is the field. In quantum physics, particles are not the smallest pieces of reality. They are notes, plucked from a silent instrument. That instrument is the quantum field. Every type of particle, electron, photon, quark, is a ripple in its own invisible ocean. These fields are not made of matter. They are not seen. They do not hum or glow. But they are everywhere, stretching through the fabric of space, filling even the emptiest places with possibility. And when the field is disturbed, just slightly, a particle is born. A flicker. A presence. A something. From the vast quiet. You, too, are like this. You move, you feel, you think. But beneath every motion, there is a field in you. A stillness. That holds everything. The part of you that exists even when you're not trying. Even when you are not becoming. Even when you are just being. Your thoughts rise like ripples. Your feelings, too. But the field beneath. Your breath. Your presence. Your resting self. Remains. Let yourself touch that field tonight. Not with effort. Not with grasping. Just by resting. You do not have to be anything now. You do not have to shine, or plan, or grow. The light of your mind can flicker down to a quiet pulse. The field beneath you. Your body, your bed. The earth itself will hold you. It is enough. In physics, the field does not ask to be seen. It does not insist on proof. It is always there. And when you are tired, when your thoughts scatter, and your dreams hesitate to arrive, remember, you are not waiting to be whole. You are resting on what has always been whole. The particle needs no permission to emerge. Just a whisper in the field. Just a nudge. And even then, it disappears again. Back into the quiet. You do not need to stay in motion to exist. You can flicker. You can fade. You can rest in the field. And the field will still be there. Beneath you. Around you. Within you. The universe, beneath all its complexity, begins from stillness. And so can you. Feel your body. Not as tension, but as support. Not as noise, but as landscape. You are not falling asleep. You are returning to the deeper part of yourself that was never tired. The part that watches, that breathes, that simply is. Let that be enough. Tonight, you are the quiet field. The calm before the flicker. The space that allows the stars to shine. And soon, as your breath deepens, and your mind grows soft, dreams will rise like gentle ripples. On your surface. Each one a particle. Brief, bright. Born from stillness. Next, we'll explore the mysterious dance of virtual particles. The flickers that appear from nothing. And vanish just as quickly. But for now, rest as the field does. Peaceful, unseen, and infinite. Even nothing is not nothing. In the quietest reaches of the universe, where no light shines, no particles linger, no sound or shape exists, something still stirs. Space, as silent as it may seem, is not empty. It breathes. In physics, we call this the quantum vacuum. Not a void, but a restless sea of maybe. From it, virtual particles flicker into being. Brief, shimmering visitors that exist for a heartbeat, and then vanish again. They do not last. They do not stay. But they leave behind subtle traces. A tug. A nudge. A ripple in the stillness. You are not so different. As you drift toward sleep, your thoughts flicker. Your memories whisper. A feeling rises. A face. A moment. A worry. And then, like the particles, it fades. You do not need to hold on to it. It is not here to stay. Let it pass. In the quantum world, these flickers are not fantasy. They are measurable. Detectable. They matter. Though they come and go. They shape the world. They lend strength to forces. They help explain why particles behave as they do. They influence what is real, even from behind the veil of nothingness. And yet, they never become permanent. This is the lesson they offer you tonight. Not everything that rises must be kept. Some thoughts come just to visit. Some feelings appear to move through you, not to settle in you. You do not need to resist them. And you do not need to invite them to stay. They flicker and fade. And that is enough. Even now, your mind is full of tiny virtual truths. Flashes of possibility. Half dreams not yet born. They will pass. On their own. Your only task is to remain soft enough to let them. Feel your breath as the rhythm that stays, while all else drifts. Inhale, a flicker appears. Exhale, and it vanishes. Nothing has to last. To be beautiful. To be meaningful. To be real. The particles know this. They do not demand permanence. They shimmer and go, never doubting their part in the whole. You can do the same. The worries that flash as you lie here, they may seem loud, but they are not rooted. They are virtual. And you, the quiet field beneath them, can outlast them. Let each thought rise. Let each image pass. Do not chase them. Do not hold them. Watch them like stars that blink on and off in a sky too wide to count. You are the calm. They flicker through. You are not the flicker. You are the space. In this space, sleep begins. It is not forced. It is not summoned. It appears, just like the particles do. Naturally, gently, from what seemed like stillness. And as your breath continues, and the ripples slow, you may find that you are drifting, without knowing when you started. That is how rest begins. Next, we'll step into the place where time itself loses its meaning, where before and after dissolve into something still. But for now, let the flickers come. Let them go. And let peace remain. Time. You followed it all day. Chased it, counted it. Felt it press against your thoughts. Now, as your eyes close, time begins to blur. Minutes soften. Urgency fades. And the ticking world slows to a hush. In your body, you measure time by breath, by heartbeat, by the shifting of light behind your eyelids. But in the quantum world, time is not so certain. Here, time does not always march forward. It does not always tick evenly. Sometimes, it doesn't tick at all. At the level of particles, events unfold without a clear sequence. Some changes happen out of order. Some interactions seem to rewrite cause and effect. We don't fully understand how. But we've measured it. We've seen entangled particles respond, as if time had no direction. This is not chaos. It's a deeper kind of stillness. A stillness not empty, but eternal. A presence that holds all moments at once. Tonight, you are invited into that stillness. You do not need to know what time it is. You do not need to keep track of how long it takes to fall asleep. Sleep does not care for clocks. It arrives not on schedule, but in surrender. Let go of the timeline, of how late it is, of how early morning feels. Let those numbers float away, like dust in the corners of your thoughts. You are not on the clock now. You are on the curve of your own breath, the soft pulse of your own rhythm. In physics, there are theories where time is not a fundamental part of reality, where it is not a backdrop, but a pattern emerging from deeper laws. Imagine that. Time not as the master, but as the echo. And in dreams, you already live this truth. There, hours collapse into moments. Memories twist with the present. The future brushes against your skin, like wind, soft and uncertain. Time folds, and you remain. So, lie here now. Not as someone waiting for sleep, but as someone stepping into a place where waiting is no longer needed, where the before doesn't matter, and the after will arrive on its own. You may feel it, the strange stillness just beneath your thinking, a sensation like floating in warm, endless water. No edge, no measure, only being. This is what it feels like when time lets go of you. It does not leave you behind. It simply stops asking for your attention. And in that pause, you are free. Let each breath be a timeless breath. Let each moment stretch like light across the stars. Time is not your task tonight. Rest is. Let your thoughts slow. Let your heartbeat soften. And feel the rhythm of nothing needing to happen. You are not late. You are not early. You are right here. Outside the lines. Beyond the hands of any clock. And this, strangely enough, is where some of the deepest science points us. To the idea that stillness is not the absence of motion, but the presence of possibility, without demand. Next, we'll follow the strange footsteps of particles that move backward through time, or perhaps never moved at all. But tonight, step into this quiet, this moment that holds no number, and let time dissolve around your resting breath. You often think of life as a path you walk forward, step by step, breath by breath, a single direction. But what if some part of you, some hidden, softer part, walks both ways? In the quantum world, this isn't just a poetic idea. It is part of the mystery. There are particles, tiny, fleeting, that don't seem to care which way time flows. They appear in equations, with paths running backward, as if their origin lies in the future, and their destination in the past. This isn't fiction. It's baked into the mathematics that describe how particles behave. Some interpretations of quantum physics suggest that the particle we see isn't just responding to what has happened, but also to what will. It's as if past and future reach for each other, meeting in the middle, at the moment you call now. And perhaps you felt this, too. A decision made that seemed already waiting for you. A memory that only made sense in hindsight, after something else had occurred. A sense, hard to name, that your life sometimes leaves footprints in both directions. It isn't that you control the past or predict the future. It's that somewhere deep inside, you carry both. Tonight, as you lie still, you can feel it. The way memory and imagination twist gently around each other. They are not separate. They are both forms of light, reaching into the darkness, trying to touch what is no longer, and what has not yet arrived. You don't need to resolve this. You don't need to understand it. You can simply rest inside it. Feel your breath. Each inhale a trace of the past. Each exhale a whisper toward the future. And between them, this moment, where everything meets. In the quantum equations, there are solutions. Where particles reverse. Where what happens only makes sense if time is allowed to bend. But in sleep, you already know how to bend time. Dreams skip hours. They return to old homes. They rewrite endings. They remind you that memory and possibility are not so far apart. And so tonight, you don't have to move forward. You don't have to measure progress. You can simply be. The space where the path folds back on itself. Let yourself remember gently. Let yourself imagine without trying. You are not walking a straight line. You are floating through the currents of time, that loop and spiral, in ways your waking mind cannot follow. But your resting mind, your dreaming mind, understands. It has always understood. You are not a single moment. You are a living echo of before, and an invitation to what comes next. And the beauty of it all is that you do not need to choose between past and future. They both hold you, and they both pass through you. Next, we'll explore the energy of emptiness itself. The strange, powerful hum that fills even the quietest space. But for now, rest in this mystery. A breath behind you, a breath ahead, and the quiet center, where you drift peacefully between the two. You lie still, so still that you can hear your breath. Feel the weight of your body settling into the world. It may seem like nothing is happening, but stillness is not emptiness. Even now, beneath your calm skin, your cells stir, your atoms hum, your heart pulses with invisible motion. And out there, in the vast silence between stars, in the spaces where there is nothing, something still whispers. Physicists call it zero-point energy. The quiet hum that never stops. Even in a perfect vacuum. Even at absolute zero, where all motion should cease, the quantum fields still ripple. They cannot be completely still. They do not know how. This energy, soft, minimal, constant, is not created by heat, or light, or matter. It is simply there. The background breath of the universe. And it reminds us that emptiness is never truly empty. You, too, carry this quiet hum. Even when you do nothing. When you rest. When you stop striving. When you float in thoughtless stillness. You are not empty. You are full. Of presence. Of potential. Of subtle movement. That needs no name. There is comfort in this. You do not need to be busy. To be meaningful. You do not need to be loud. To have power. Like the vacuum's gentle energy. Your value does not vanish. When your mind quiets. It is here. In this hush. This space between one thought and the next. That your deepest self emerges. Let yourself feel it now. Not as tension, but as warmth. Not as force, but as vibration. Zero-point energy cannot be removed. It is built into the laws of physics. It is the floor. The lowest note the universe can sing. You, too, have a floor. A place beneath the worry. Beneath the doing. Where you simply exist. You do not need to earn it. It is your right. Your rhythm. Just as the cosmos never truly sleeps. You never truly vanish. Even in slumber. Even in silence. Let that truth settle around you. Like a soft blanket. You are held. By something deeper than words. You are surrounded. By invisible energy. Your breath, your heartbeat. And the quiet field. Of your presence. This is what rest is for. Not to erase your power. But to return you to it. You are not idle. You are resting in potential. And like zero-point energy. You are here. Still. Always. Next. We'll travel to the very edge of what can be known. The quantum vacuum fluctuations. That give birth to entire galaxies. But for now. Breathe softly. Do nothing more. And know that even in your stillness, you glow. The universe did not begin with a roar. Not with thunder. Not with violence. But with a whisper. A tremble in the fabric of nothing. A flicker. Barely there. That flicker was a quantum fluctuation. A spontaneous ripple in the stillness. Of what we call the vacuum. Not caused. Not planned. Just allowed. And from that whisper, space itself began to stretch. To swell. To sing. This is how the cosmos began. Not from something solid. But from possibility. From chance. From a soft stir. In the quietest possible place. It is strange to think that the stars you see, those ancient lanterns hung in velvet darkness, owe their shape to randomness. That the atoms in your body were once vibrations in nothing at all. But this is how creation often moves. Not in certainty, but in surrender. Not in grand plans, but in gentle chaos. Let this thought comfort you tonight. That something so vast, so luminous, so exquisitely detailed, could emerge from such humble origins. And if the universe can do that, so can you. You do not need to know the shape of tomorrow. You do not need to force yourself into clarity. You can let your thoughts tremble. Not wildly, but softly. Not out of fear, but out of openness. Every idea you've had, every fleeting instinct, every moment of wonder, they are your own quantum fluctuations. They may seem small. They may pass unnoticed. But given space, they shape your inner galaxies. Just like the early universe, your being expands from the tiniest stirrings. And sleep. Sleep is where those stirrings find room. It is not idleness. It is creation. The quantum field that birthed stars needed space to ripple freely. And so do you. Tonight, you are that field. Wide. Unformed. Ready to flicker. You do not need to control what arises. You do not need to finish the sentence. You only need to be open to the whisper, to the barely there thought. That will shape something beautiful. In time. In cosmology, we call this the inflationary era. A moment just after the Big Bang, when the universe expanded faster than light. Because of fluctuations. In a vacuum field. All that is. Every star. Every tree. Every breath you take. Comes from that flash of rapid becoming. That small, soft spark. Was enough. And so are you. Let your breath move like those early ripples. Let it expand. Without force. Let your mind soften. Into the fabric of rest. You don't need a plan. You don't need precision. You need only stillness. And the permission to tremble. Just enough. To begin something new. There is magic in that trembling. There is wonder. In allowing the silence to speak first. Next, we'll descend into the paradox of quantum decoherence. The gentle undoing of possibilities. That shapes what becomes real. But for now, float in the hush, where galaxies are born. And let your dreams rise. From the smallest spark. In you. There is a moment. When a wave becomes a droplet. When a blur becomes a shape. When maybe it becomes this. But it doesn't happen with a crash. It happens quietly. Almost imperceptibly. This is the process of quantum decoherence. In the quantum world, particles don't begin with decisions. They live in layers of possibility. A superposition of outcomes. They can be here. and there, spinning this way and that, until something, not even a conscious observer, but the simple touch of the environment, makes those possibilities unravel. And one becomes real. The wave doesn't break. It just fades softly into a world with edges. Decoherence is not collapse. It is settling. Not the end of wonder, but the beginning of clarity. And you, too, know this feeling. All day, you've held possibilities. Thoughts unfinished. Paths undecided. Emotions layered and shifting. You've tried to make sense of them. To choose. To reduce your many into the one. But tonight, you don't need to decide. You can let them settle. Without force. Like dust. Gently falling through still air. Decoherence does not demand. It allows. Just the presence of a gentle world. A warm room. A safe bed. A steady breath. Is enough to guide you. From noise to quiet. From scattering to stillness. From the thousand thoughts you could follow to the single piece you choose now. The quantum realm teaches us that even the most chaotic motion can resolve itself when it is no longer disturbed. And your mind, right now, is doing the same. Not by solving every question, not by organizing every dream, but by resting, by returning to rhythm, by letting possibility be possibility, until one gently unfolds. This is how sleep begins. Not with a decision, but with a soft drift toward something simple. Your body knows how to do this. It remembers the way into slowness, into quiet, into coherence. Let yourself trust that remembering. There is no need to chase a conclusion. You are not at the end. You are at the beginning of rest. Think of all the versions of your day that almost happened. The thoughts you might have spoken. The paths you might have taken. They are still part of you. They shaped your wave. They mattered. But now, like the quantum field touching the world, your environment, your breath, your warmth, your gentle darkness, is guiding you toward the version of yourself that sleeps. Let that version emerge. Let all the others rest, too. Not erased. Not rejected. Just paused. Saved. In the soft hum of who you are. In the morning, new possibilities will rise again. New paths. New thoughts. New ways of being. But for now, be this one version. The version that closes its eyes and drifts without asking for certainty. Next, we'll reach into the strange harmony between matter and mathematics, where equations hum like lullabies and the cosmos follows their song. But tonight, settle. Let the many become one. Let that one become still. And let stillness be enough. Close your eyes and imagine silence. Now lean deeper into the kind of silence that's not empty, but full. Full of something hidden. Steady. Eternal. That is where the universe begins. Not with light. Not even with matter. But with pattern. With mathematics. Not the kind from textbooks and tests. But the soft kind. The kind that sings quietly in the bones of the cosmos. You may not think in numbers. But your world does. The orbit of planets. The rhythm of your heart. The split of cells. The spiral of galaxies. All of it follows rules. Rules written. Not in words, but in balance. In symmetry. In the slow turning of equations. That whisper behind everything. Physicists don't invent these equations. They discover them. As if the universe has always known how it wishes to move, how to expand, how to fold, how to dance. It is a quiet music. And you are made from it. The constants of physics. Planck's constant. The speed of light. The gravitational pull. Are not guesses. They are notes. In a grand, infinite melody. A melody that allows stars to form. Planets to hold water. Trees to reach for sun. And you. To dream. This order is not rigid. It is not cold. It is soft. Like the tempo of breath. Like the rhythm of sleep. You do not need to solve these patterns to belong to them. You are already part of the harmony. Think of your breath now. In. Out. In. It is a wave. Just like light. Just like sound. Just like the rise and fall of quantum fields. In fact, everything you've learned in these chapters. The tunneling. The entanglement. The uncertainty. The stillness. All of it follows from equations. Written in a language the universe never forgets. And that language is quiet tonight. Not gone. Just humming beneath you. Like a lullaby. You've known all your life. You are not a mistake. In this math. You are not noise. You are part of the symmetry. Even in your thoughts. Which may seem scattered. There is pattern. Even in your dreams. Which may seem strange. There is rhythm. Tonight. You do not need to understand the equations. You do not need to hold their symbols in your mind. You need only to feel what they create. The way your chest rises. In soft alignment. With the night. The way the earth spins. Beneath you. Without effort. The way the stars stay lit. By rules older than memory. And kinder than fear. You are not separate from these patterns. You are woven into them. So let yourself rest. In their care. Let the formula of stillness settle into your bones. You do not need to choose the next step. You do not need to measure your value. You are already in tune with the deep structure of things. Let the numbers sing without sound. Let the order hold you without control. And if your thoughts wander, if your mind stirs, remember, the music of the universe is not a straight line. It loops, it sways. It flows like a stream through the curves of sleep. Next, we'll move toward the quiet end, where waveforms fade, where dreams dissolve, and only the softest truths remain. But for now, feel the hum beneath the silence. Feel the pattern that holds you. And let yourself become a quiet part of the song. There is a hush at the end of every breath. A pause after the inhale and before the exhale. It is quiet, barely a heartbeat long, but it holds everything. The quantum world, too, knows this kind of hush. It is the place where possibility ends and presence begins. A particle is not always a particle. Before it is measured, before it is touched, it exists in a state of uncertainty. A wave function spread across many options. But eventually, the wave collapses. It becomes one thing. Not through violence. Not through judgment. Just softly. This is the collapse of the wave function. A moment where the blur of maybe becomes the shape of now. Not all possibilities are lost. They remain in some far fold of the universe. But one version steps forward. One truth takes form. One path becomes your present. And so it is with you. You have held so many possibilities. You've dreamed. You've worried. You've wandered in thought. But now, you arrive at the quiet edge, where you don't have to be many things, where you are allowed to be just one. The one who rests. The one who breathes. The one who closes their eyes and drifts without needing to decide what comes next. Like the wave function, you don't collapse with fear. You settle with grace. You've visited so many ideas tonight. Particles tunneling through barriers. Entanglements across distance. Time that bends and slips. Fluctuations in emptiness. Fields that hum beneath the visible world. Each one was a path through the dark, lit by wonder. And each one has led you here. To stillness. To clarity. To sleep. You don't need to remember the science now. You don't need to carry the metaphors. They have done their work. They have wrapped your mind in softness. They have reminded you that you are part of something vast and beautiful, and not required to understand it all. You are not separate from the mystery. You are the mystery, folded gently into a breathing body, under soft blankets, listening for dreams. So let go. Let go of the questions. Let go of the mind's need to move. Let go of the shape you thought you had to hold. And allow your wave to collapse into calm. Into this one precious moment of being at rest. You are not behind. You are not ahead. You are not unfinished. You are here. This is the moment. This is the now. And it is enough. The cosmos does not rush. It does not force. It unfolds. And tonight, so do you. There is nothing more to do. No more chapters. No more words. Just the closing of the final page. The quiet exhale. At the end of a story. And beneath it all. Beneath your breath. Beneath your skin. Beneath the humming fields of space and time. A silence that holds you completely. Let it sleep now in the arms of the infinite. And wake, when you are ready, into the next ripple of light. Good night.